These words have found you. Understand, this is not a coincidence. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are simply being reminded. Everything you desire is already yours, not tomorrow, not when conditions change, now. You may ask, but how can that be true when I do not see it? And I say, you do not see it because you are waiting to see it with your eyes instead of feeling it with your soul. And the world around you is only a reflection, a mirror showing you who you are conscious of being. If you are conscious of wealth, health, love, peace, it must show up. And if you are conscious of lack, fear, or doubt, it will faithfully echo that back too. But the key is not to fight the mirror. The key is to change what you are on the inside. Close your eyes. Imagine the life you desire as though it were already complete. Do not ask how, for the how is not your concern. Your only task is to feel it real. See yourself there. Touch it with your thoughts. Taste it in your emotions. Dwell in it like one who has already arrived. You see, desire is not a thing to chase. It is a memory from your future. You would not long for what wasn't already written within your being. The fact that you desire it means it already exists in your potential. The only reason you haven't touched it in your reality is because you have not yet claimed it in your mind. Do not beg. Do not plead. Simply assume. Assume that what you desire is already yours. Speak like it, walk like it, live like it. When doubt comes, and it will, do not fight it. Simply return to your inner scene, the scene that proves it is done. The conversation that affirms it has already unfolded. The feeling that says, I am that now. This is not a technique. This is truth. All things are states of consciousness. You move through these states not with effort but with imagination, and once you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, faithfully, and without needing proof, the world will rearrange itself to match the new you. Do not be deceived by what appears. The signs will come only after you believe, not before. For the outer world always waits for your inner command. So again I say, if you are seeing this, everything you want is already yours. All that remains is for you to accept it. Not tomorrow, not after you're ready, now, because you are ready, and it is done. What you are conscious of being now is all that matters. This moment, this present awareness, is the root of all things that manifest in your world. Every event, every person, every condition you experience is simply a mirror reflecting what you have accepted as true about yourself. The outer world is not cause. It is not power, it is not reality, it is only the echo. A projection, a shadow cast by the light of your own inner state. You do not live in the world as much as the world lives in you. Your reality, as you perceive it, rises from within your own consciousness. You are not a passive observer, but the operant power, the author, the cause. You may believe that circumstances shape you, but the truth is far more powerful. You shape your circumstances by what you accept as true in your mind. The outer world is a delayed reflection. What you see with your eyes is always behind what you are holding within. That is why change feels difficult for most, because they try to alter the reflection while leaving the source untouched. They try to manipulate effects instead of understanding the cause. But if you want to change your life, you must change your consciousness, not partially, not momentarily, but entirely. To see a different world, you must become different in consciousness. Everything begins in the invisible, the world of thoughts, feelings, assumptions. This is where creation starts, and it is always creating. Whether you are aware of it or not, your consciousness is continually impressing itself upon the world. If you believe yourself to be poor, unwanted, unlucky, that belief, carried in your inner conversations and emotions, will outpicture itself in your world. Not because life is cruel, but because life is faithful. It cannot betray the image it is given to reflect. People walk through life as victims of their own unawareness. They believe they are reacting to life, never realizing that life is only reacting to them. They blame chance, fate, or others for the conditions they endure, never stopping to ask, what must I believe about myself for this to appear in my world? That question is the beginning of power. For when you realize that you are the origin of your experience, you no longer fear the world. You begin to shape it. The world you see is not fixed. It is not solid. It is fluid, ever malleable, responding moment by moment to your state of being. And that state is not determined by what you own or where you live. It is determined by what you accept as true within. This is why two people can live in the same house, experience the same events, and yet live in entirely different realities. It is not the event that defines the experience, it is the consciousness behind it. So ask yourself, not what do I want to have, but who am I being? What are you claiming as true about yourself in the silence of your mind? What assumptions are you repeating? What self-concept are you nurturing? That is what is creating your world. Not the outer noise, but the inner world. You need not wait for the world to change. You need only shift your consciousness now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Walk in that inner knowing. Dwell in the state where what you desire is already yours, and remain there, not just for a moment, but until it becomes natural. Then and only then will the world bend to reflect your new truth, because the outer is only a shadow. The true power, the real cause, is you. Imagination is not a fleeting daydream or a passive escape. It is the creative power behind all that exists in your world. Every form, every condition, every circumstance you experience begins first in the unseen world of imagination. This is the secret so many overlook, that the world you live in is shaped not by effort, struggle, or external action alone, but by the inner images you hold and the feelings you attach to them. What you vividly imagine and emotionally feel as real now must manifest. It is not a matter of if, but when, for imagination is law. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. There is no pause button, no off switch. The mind is ceaselessly at work, forming impressions, spinning stories, and accepting assumptions that become the foundation of your reality. Most people imagine unconsciously, drifting into fears, doubts, and worst-case scenarios, never realizing they are watering seeds that will eventually grow. They say, I knew this would happen, and fail to see that their knowing was the cause, not the prediction. To imagine consciously is to take hold of this power with awareness. It means choosing what to dwell on internally, what to see and feel within, before the outer world gives you a reason. It means assuming the role of the artist, painting with thought, emotion, and belief. When you imagine something vividly, with clarity and sensory richness, and you feel its truth in your body as though it were already here, you are not pretending, you are planting. And what you plant must grow. Creation begins in the unseen. That inner scene you replay, the internal dialogue you rehearse, the vision you return to again and again. These are the blueprints of your future experience. Do not ask, how will it come? That question belongs to the old self that believes in limits. The truth is that the how is none of your business. The how is taken care of by unseen forces that respond faithfully to your inner state. Your only task is to imagine the end and feel it as now. Motion is the magnet. It is not enough to say the words or form the picture, you must feel the reality of it. When you imagine, don't stand outside the scene, enter it. Be inside your desire, not as a spectator, but as the one living it. Look out through your own eyes. Touch the objects, hear the sounds, smell the air. Let it be so real within that it begins to change your inner chemistry. This is the secret to bringing it forth. Imagination is never idle. If you are not imagining what you want, you are likely imagining what you fear. This is why awareness is everything. You must become the master of your inner world, not with control, but with intention. Ask yourself, what am I imagining right now? What am I rehearsing in my mind? Am I creating from fear or from faith? When the feeling of fulfillment becomes natural, the outer world will conform. It cannot resist the blueprint you provide. You are not manipulating the universe. You are aligning with a version of reality that already exists in the infinite. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of your desire, and what matches that frequency must find its way to you. Do not look for signs. Do not seek validation from the outer world. Instead, return again and again to your imagined state, not as a wish, but as a knowing. Live from it, speak from it, act from it, not to make it happen, but because it already has happened in you. Reality is catching up. You are not a victim of life. You are the dreamer, the architect, the source. Everything you experience begins in the garden of imagination. Tend it wisely, for whatever you plant there, believing it, feeling it, knowing it, will surely grow. Desire is not a signal of lack. It is not something that arrives to remind you of what you do not have. True desire is revelation. It is the whisper of a deeper truth rising within you, the echo of a reality that already exists. When you feel a sincere desire, it is not a future possibility knocking on your door. It is a present reality calling you to recognize it. You do not chase desire, you awaken to it. You do not run after it, you receive it. There is no distance between you and what you want, except the distance created by your own sense of separation. The belief that you do not yet possess it is the only thing delaying its appearance. But when you feel as though it is done, when you assume the state of being one who already has it, you collapse that distance. The outer world may still appear the same, but your inner state has shifted. And because consciousness is the only cause, the world must rearrange itself to reflect this new assumption. This is the great secret. Feeling it as done, not hoping, not wishing, not begging, but accepting. You are not waiting for the world to give you permission to have what you desire. You are not required to earn it. You are required only to enter the state of fulfillment and dwell there. To feel it real, to live from the end. You are not asking for something to come, you are claiming that it already is. This inner knowing is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you feel the desire and simultaneously believe it is already fulfilled, you are in harmony with your higher self. You are saying yes to the reality that has already been created in the unseen. The world you see with your physical eyes is always behind your consciousness. The truth exists within you now. You need not fight for it. You need only feel it. Desire is not a signal to act in desperation. It is an invitation to rest in knowing. So many try to make things happen, exhausting themselves with effort, trying to manipulate the world into giving them what they believe is missing. But the one who understands this truth does not chase. They align. They assume the state of the wish fulfilled and allow the world to catch up. What you desire is not outside of you. It is within, and it longs to be expressed through you. But it can only come forth through the channel of your belief. You must believe it is already yours, not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when others approve, but now. The now is the only moment that creates. You cannot receive what you do not feel worthy of. So begin to see yourself as the one who already possesses it. Wear it in your imagination as you would a garment. Let it color your thoughts, your conversations, your actions. Not because you are pretending, but because you are remembering. You are awakening to what already belongs to you by divine right. This is not about faking confidence or forcing positivity. It is about moving into truth. A truth that says if you can feel it, if you can see it in your mind and accept it in your heart, then it is already yours. You are the one who brings it into being by the quality of your inner state. So stop chasing, stop waiting, stop looking for confirmation outside. Go within and claim it. Rest in the knowing that it is done. Feel the peace, the joy, the gratitude of already having it, and then let the world mirror that truth back to you in its own perfect way, in its own perfect time. You already possess it. All you have to do now is feel it. The mind is always seeking answers, trying to control the process, asking over and over, how will it happen? But this question belongs to a state of doubt. It arises only when you do not believe it is already yours. The moment you ask how, you step outside the end, outside the feeling of completion, and into the state of delay. The truth is simple, though often resisted. It is not your task to figure out the path, it is your task to assume the end. To live in the end means to accept internally and emotionally that what you desire is already true. It is already done. It is not something you hope will happen one day. It is something you dwell in now with certainty, with stillness. You do not visit the state of fulfillment as a fleeting thought. You make it your home. You return to it again and again until it becomes your natural dwelling place. Living in the end is not about fantasy. It is about faith. It is not idle dreaming. It is conscious selection. You are selecting the version of reality you choose to occupy, and you are doing so not by begging the universe or working harder, but by entering the feeling of already being the person who has it. It is the law of consciousness. Your outer world will always reflect your inner dwelling place. If you desire abundance, then do not dwell in lack. Do not speak from scarcity, think from limitation, or act from desperation. Instead, dwell in the consciousness of one who is already abundant. How would you think? How would you speak? How would you feel? These are not questions of fantasy. They are the blueprint of creation. Do not concern yourself with the in-between. The in-between is the illusion. The cause is your consciousness, and the effect is what follows. You may not know the steps, and you do not need to. The bridge of incidents will form in ways you cannot foresee. Doors will open, people will shift, events will unfold, but only after you have moved first within. To live in the end is to close the gap between desire and fulfillment. The moment you declare it is done and truly feel it, you move out of waiting and into receiving. You are not wishing for change, you are embodying the change. You are not hoping for a new future, you are being it now. There is no greater power than this, the ability to move in consciousness and live from the unseen before it is seen. Most live their lives reacting to appearances, constantly shifting with circumstances. But those who understand truth act from within, regardless of what the outer world says. They may see no evidence, but they trust the law. They may be surrounded by contradiction, but they hold to the end with unwavering faith. And in time, the outer world must conform, for it is only a mirror. You must be disciplined in imagination. When doubts arise, and they will, you do not wrestle with them, you return to your end. You affirm the truth. You feel it again deeply, not because you need to make it real, but because it already is, and you are simply aligning with it once more. This is the work. This is the practice. Not chasing, not questioning, dwelling. Your task is not to control the world, but to control your inner state. To dwell consistently in the assumption that it is already yours. To speak from the place of fulfillment. To feel the gratitude of already receiving. To embody the confidence of already becoming. And as you live there, truly live there, the outer world must bend, it must reflect the inner conviction you hold. Live in the end and refuse to leave it. Let that state of fulfillment become so real to you that the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your faith. This is not wishful thinking. This is creation. Persistence is the sacred act of faith. It is the quiet, steady refusal to abandon what you know to be true within, despite what your senses scream at you. It is easy to believe when the evidence is obvious, when your desires have already taken shape before your eyes. But true power lies in your ability to hold firm to the unseen reality, even when the outer world denies it. This is the test of creation. This is the path of the one who truly understands how reality is formed. You must learn to stand unmoved, not because the world agrees with you, but because you have already agreed with yourself. You have seen the end within your imagination, and that is enough. The external may delay, contradict, or mock your inner vision, but it cannot stop it unless you abandon it. If you drop your assumption, if you let the outer world define your state, then you drift into passivity, into reaction, into powerlessness. But if you persist, gently, calmly, and faithfully, then what you have imagined must harden into fact. There is a great temptation to check for signs, to constantly measure the outer for confirmation. But this betrays a lack of faith. Your role is not to monitor progress. Your role is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, to dwell in it as naturally as you dwell in your own skin. You persist not with strain or force, but with certainty. You do not plead with life. You do not demand proof. You continue to assume your desire is fulfilled regardless of appearances. Imagination is not idle fantasy. It is the creative cause of all things. What you hold persistently in imagination becomes the pattern through which life must flow. If you imagine lack, fear, or failure repeatedly, they too will solidify into experience. But if you imagine joy, abundance, and love with conviction, then these must take form as well. The law is impartial. It mirrors what you impress upon it through feeling. Persistence requires intimacy with your desire. It means you return to it, feel it, and become it in thought again and again. You rehearse the end in your mind so often that it becomes your emotional reality. It is no longer something distant. It is familiar, lived, embodied. This is the secret, not a single mighty effort, but small, consistent acts of faith, quiet moments of inner alignment, day after day, that shape the world without your conscious control. Even when nothing seems to be happening, especially then, you must not waver. The silence before manifestation is not a denial, it is incubation. The seed is in the soil. The transformation is happening beneath the surface. Trust the process, even when your senses deny it. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Water it with faith. Shine light upon it with gratitude. Persist. You will be tempted to react to circumstances. You will be challenged by delay, contradiction, or the seeming permanence of current conditions. But these are illusions, echoes of your past state of consciousness. They are not warnings. They are not omens. They are just shadows. Your present assumption is what matters. Persist in it. Do not look back. Do not adjust your inner state to match the old world. Instead, let the old world adjust to match your new inner state. Reality is always catching up to your imagination. You are the one who moves first. If you want the world to change, change your assumption and hold it. Feel it is already done. And when the mind says nothing is happening, you smile gently and return to the feeling of fulfillment. You trust the unseen over the visible. You trust your inner world over the outer. Those who persist in the unseen are the ones who reshape the seen. What you imagine with emotion, what you feel as true, and dwell upon with conviction must solidify into fact. It is not a matter of if, but when. So persist. Even when all evidence says no, you say yes, and the world in time will echo your belief. The mistake most people make is seeking signs before they believe. They wait for confirmation, for evidence, for the world to give them permission to trust what they desire. But that is not how creation works. The law does not respond to need. It responds to assumption. It does not act when you plead. It acts when you believe. Signs do not come to convince you. They come to reflect you. They follow. They do not precede. When you look for a sign, you are declaring that you have not yet fully accepted your desire as real. You are still waiting for something outside of you to validate what should already be true within you. But creation does not begin with signs. Creation begins in consciousness. Your inner state, the feeling you occupy, the thoughts you dwell on, the assumptions you live by, this is what creates your world. You must embody the end, live in the reality of it, before anything can appear to mirror it. Become the evidence. Be the sign. When you fully embody the state of the person who already has what they desire, the world cannot help but reflect it. You don't need to chase after clues. You don't need to analyze every detail of your day, wondering, was that a sign or is it working? That is the mind of delay and doubt. The one who knows no longer asks. Think of it this way: if you were truly in love, you wouldn't need to see a sign to prove it. The feeling itself would be the proof. If you were truly wealthy, you wouldn't seek signs of money coming. You would act, think, and feel from the state of wealth. You wouldn't ask when. You would simply be. This being is the cause, and when you persist in it, the world must conform. Not because you begged, not because you forced, but because you embody. The world is not testing you. It is reflecting you. It mirrors your dominant assumptions and beliefs, not just what you say with your words, but what you live in emotionally. When your inner state changes, the outer world eventually must. It may not happen instantly. There may be a time gap, like the space between planting a seed and seeing the bloom. But it is guaranteed. The delay is not denial, it is gestation. To become the evidence means to stop waiting, stop asking, stop checking, and start dwelling. Start feeling, acting, and thinking as if it is already so. This does not mean pretending or faking. It means moving into the state so fully that you no longer question it. You feel it in your breath. You speak from it, not about it. You do not wonder whether the world will shift. You know it must, because you have already shifted. The sign will come after you no longer need it. When the state has become natural, when you have relaxed into the feeling of fulfillment, then the world will show you what you are already living within. It will reflect your certainty, not your effort. This is why forcing or controlling outcomes never works. You are not meant to chase proof. You are meant to rest in faith. So withdraw your attention from appearances. Stop trying to make the world prove something to you. Instead, go within. Feel the reality of what you want and let it be enough. Let that feeling grow, take root, become your dwelling place. The signs will come, but not as confirmation. They will come as reflection after the fact. Creation is never about watching for the world to move first. It is about moving first in consciousness. When you become the version of yourself that already has it, the rest will follow. Life will rearrange itself, not because you looked for a sign, but because you became the source of one. You are the cause, the world is the effect. Believe first, become first, and let the signs follow. You are not here to wait and wonder. You are here to awaken and remember. Everything you want is already yours. Not in some distant future, not when the conditions seem right, but here and now within the realm of your imagination and assumption. You are the cause. The world is your reflection. Stop chasing, stop doubting, and start knowing. Live in the end. Persist in your vision, assume boldly, and feel deeply, for what you embody within must express itself without. Creation begins with you. Not tomorrow, not when you see proof, but the moment you decide to believe. You are always creating. Choose to create with intention, with clarity, with the unwavering faith that what you desire is already yours. Don't look for the signs, be the sign. Don't react to the world, reveal your world. Everything responds to your inner state. So rest in the truth. All things are possible to the one who believes, not in theory, but in feeling. Assume it is done, feel it real, and walk in the certainty that what you have claimed in consciousness must come to pass. Thank you statement. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. May these words stir something ancient and powerful within you, a knowing that cannot be shaken. You are the author, the director, and the light behind your reality. Go forward now, not with effort, but with assurance. Everything you want is already yours. Thank you, and remember, you are always becoming what you assume to be.